Hello everyone, good morning and welcome to Kubernetes section. Okay, so today mainly we will be focusing on the config map. What exactly config map within the Kubernetes is, and what exactly is the purpose of that config map, and when we are required to use that. Okay, that all things we will look into theoretical plus practical. So before going to this Kubernetes section of the config map, what we can do, I just wanted to show you things. I just wanted to recall the things from the Docker section. Okay, so in case of Docker, we have these many images as of now, and if we just talk about the Nginx, which all in you can say kubectl Docker image inspect image name. Once you want to see in detailed information about this image, so you are going to make use of the inspect command. Okay, and once you are done with that, you will get to see some information about the entry point, about the CMD, about which all environment variables are present. So over here you can see these are the environment variables which are present inside the Nginx image. And if you want to add few more extra environment variable within the Nginx image, in that case you can create your custom Nginx image, or might be at a runtime you can add environment variable with the help of -e option, like we used to do that. Let's say docker container, let's say container one hyphen, we used to add environment variable with -e option, that is nothing but -e. Then let's say city equal to Pune, and we want to create container from the Nginx. Okay, so likewise we used to do that. Then docker container ps, this is the container which we got up and running. And if you want to check the environment variable which are present inside that, and then simply with the help of this command, env is the environment variable listing command, you can see this environment variable got added in the container section. So this was the thing about the container. Okay, means one thing you can on runtime you can add the environment variable within this container. Second thing is like create a custom image with this environment variable and make use of that variable. Okay, but let's say on runtime only we have to add the things within the Kubernetes as well. So how we are going to do that, we will see that thing right now. Okay, same thing, same output we will get, but the thing is now we are doing the deployment with the help of Kubernetes directly. We are not going to create a container. In that case, we should know how to add environment variable in the pod. Okay, right now this is the case with the container, but with the help of Kubernetes we are going to create pod, so we should know how to add environment variable inside the pod. Okay, so let me delete this as it's no longer required. And as of now I don't have any file over here. Let's generate the deployment YAML file. Okay, kubectl create a deployment. Let's say name of the deployment as mydep, and it I want to create it from nginx image, and hyphen dry run. Okay, so I have generated an let me check. I'm at which location? Okay, root location. Okay, that's okay then. Let's generate one file, deploy.yaml, and delete unwanted thing as usual, like creation timestamp or this strategy also I don't want, this as well, and resource. And okay, this is a normal deployment YAML file, and this is the okay case, like one pod is going to get created. But the thing is, if you just create this pod, this within this pod as well you will get a normal environment variable that was present inside the nginx image. Okay, so let's see first that if I save it, apply the thing, execute. Let's execute to this pod and let's check the environment variable. Okay, so you will see the same environment variable like path. This Kubernetes is going to add certain extra environment variable regarding the Kubernetes, but these environment variable are mainly required for internal purpose of the Kubernetes. So and this is not required for us. If a certain environment variable which is required by our application, okay, if I want to add that inside the environment variable, in that case I need to add some extra code within the deployment YAML file, because this, let me show you at the top as well, which all environment variables you can see in the image section. There is a path variable, nginx version, njs and package release. Okay, these are the four environment variable you will see. Same is the case over here, path, then nginx version, njs version and package release. Other extra variables are added by default within the Kubernetes pod. Okay, and those are required for internal working of the Kubernetes, so we have nothing to do with that. But let's say if you want to add any certain environment variable within this pod, in that case you just have to update this and specify some environment variable with the help of env. Okay, and which environment variable you want to add? Let's say I want to add city equal to Pune. Okay, this is the environment variable you have to add right now. That's a name of the environment variable is city and value of the environment variable is Pune. This you want to add it. Okay, so let's save it and apply it one more time. Okay, जैसे आप अप्लाई कर दोगे, the older pod will get terminated and newer pod will get created, because old pod is not having the city environment variable. That's why it is going to get terminated, and new pod which just got generated 4 seconds ago, this will have environment variable city. Okay, let's check in our case whether we are able to execute, means do we have that city environment variable or not. Now you can see I just added city equal to Pune in my manifest YAML file, and that got present over here, city equal to Pune. So this is how you can add environment variable with the help of this env section. And you can, as I have added over here hyphen. Okay, hyphen is nothing but array. Array matlab you can add as many environment variable as you want. Likewise, let's say I have added only one right now. So let's say if I want to add one more thing, let's say I want to add state equal to Maharashtra. I want to add one more thing. Let's say these are like few environment variable I want to add. So once you update this thing, you need to apply and now you can see like state equal to Maharashtra, course equal to DevOps, city equal to Pune. All those environment variable are present over here. Okay, this is how it is going to work. So you can add as many environment variable as you want. Okay, but here is one catch. Okay, it's means what Kubernetes recommend to us, even though we can add environment variable like this, but let me keep it only one as of now, because if we are okay with one, then we can add as many as we want. But what Kubernetes recommend us, let's not hardcode any value within this YAML file, because Kubernetes recommend us to keep this YAML file as generic as we can. So the hard coding of the value, it's not good practice to keep it here. Okay, so where we can store this value of this variable, that object is nothing but a config map. Okay, let me show you with some diagram. Let's say we have this pod and we are defining one environment variable over here. That environment variable is nothing but, let's say, city equal to something. Okay, city equal to, I'm not directly hard coding the value over here, okay, because Kubernetes is not recommending us to do that. So that's where what I will do, I will create one config map over here. Okay, and I will just write those environment variable over here. Let's say city equal to Pune, and I'll just refer this key. This will be the key. Okay, the first is key, second is value. Okay, this is the key equal to value part. Now I will just refer this config map at this location. Okay, so that whatever environment variable that pod has to get, all those environment variable, it is going to fetch it from the config map. The name suggests config, it is for the configuration. Any configuration required by the pod, just save that configuration in the config map and make use of that config map in the pod section or in the deployment section, so that whatever things we are going to hard code over here, that we don't have to do, just hard code it in the config map, as config map is meant to be for keeping the configuration files or environment variable. So that, let's say over here I'm not using config map, and right now let's say I need to make use of a different value of the city. In that case I need to update the value over here and apply the YAML file. Okay, so every time your value is going to change, you have to update it over here and apply it, and again things will work. But the thing is, I don't want to touch this deployment YAML file if there is a change in the value of the city variable. So where I'm going to change, I'm going to change, let's say if it change city equal to Mumbai or city equal to Indore, in that case I'll just change the value to this config map, and automatically the new value will get picked up by our pod. Okay, so this is how internally we are going to link our pod with the config map. Let me show you with some practical how we can make use of it, so that things will get better clear. But this is how internally it is going to work for us. Now let's make it normal. Okay, and as we have deleted other two environment variable, so let me apply the thing. And now we will just make use of the config map, instead of like creating or instead of hard coding the values in this manifest YAML file. So how to create a config map? Let's go to the documentation page, config map in Kubernetes. Let's go to the documentation page of Kubernetes, and you will see the same information which I have explained you right now. Let's copy paste some data over here. Okay, this config map file looks very simple, only data is important over here. Okay, okay, the thing is, we have to provide a name of the config map. Let's say my CM, my config map, and over here we are creating a config map, so kind will be config map. इसका shortcut CM होता है. It comes under API version v1. We have to provide a name to that config map. Let's say my CM will be the name of the config map, and let's say if I define my city equal to Pune. So my city will be key, and value will be Pune over here within this config map. So within the data section is all about which all information you have to store within the config map. So this is the one key pair I'm storing, key value pair I'm storing over here. Let's save it, and to check if we have any config map present in within our cluster, you can do config map, or you can normally do shortcut is the CM. So you can do CM as well. This is the default config map which will come along with us whenever you are going to install the cluster. So you can ignore this config map because this is it for internal purpose of the Kubernetes. Now we have just created one file cm.yaml. Let's try to apply this file. kubectl apply -f, and our config map got created successfully. Just let's check the config map. Now you can see this 6 seconds ago our config map got created with the help of this. If you try to describe it, describe config map, name of the config map over here, you will see in the data section we have defined my city equal to Pune. So my city will be the key and value will be Pune. Okay, now I want to make sure that my deployment or the pod which is going to get created from that deployment make use of this config map to fetch the value of the variable city. Okay, so for that matter what I'm going to do, let's update the deployment, and over here I don't want to hard code the things. That's where I need to make use of certain keywords so that I can make use of the config map. So what I have to do over here, let's go to this, and this is the pod section. Okay, so how they have made use of this environment variable, or how they have make use of this config map, it's shown over here. So you can see this is the environment variable section. Name of the variable, you just define whatever you want to define, and you want to fetch the value from the config map. That's why it is saying value from conf config map key reference. It means it needs to fetch the value from the config map. Okay, so let's try to copy paste as of now, and we will update as per our requirement. Okay, so let's go over here. So define the environment variable over here. Let's say my environment variable is city, and value from, I want to value from means I want to fetch the value from the config map. So what is the name of my config map? My CM is the name of my config map. And what is the name of the key value is nothing but my city. Okay, I'll show you one more time what are these values. Nothing. Okay, let's save it as of now, and let me open this deployment YAML file and CM YAML file. Okay, so now the value of that environment variable city, I want to fetch it from the config map. Okay, so in that case, which config map, because there can be hundreds of config map in your account, in your cluster. So from which config map you want to fetch that value, you have to provide the name. So right now I want to fetch it from my CM config map, and there can be hundreds of variables provided over here. So what will be the key, means this key is nothing but this key. Okay, so key equal to my city I have defined. So what is the value assigned to this my city? Pune. So in short, this environment variable city will get value Pune. इतना बड़ा जो अपन ने लिखा है, all that just to fetch a value from a config map. Okay, it's simple. We just have to provide which config map we need to use and from which key we need to get that value. Okay, so we want to get the value from the key my city. So my city के आगे it's right Pune, so we will get city equal to Pune in that case. Okay, So we already have this config map along with us, and we have just updated this deployment. So let's apply it. So my deployment is configured. So new pod will get created because we have modified our deployment. So this, once this new pod will get like up and running condition, then previous pod will get terminated. Okay, so let's wait for that moment. And yes, new pod got created. Let's do execute. And now you can see over here city equal to Pune we got, and this value is coming from the config map. If you are not sure whether this value is coming from config map or from something else, in that case what we can do, we can just update this config map one more time. Let's define my hometown, and once I update it, anything you update, you always have to go ahead and apply the things, otherwise changes will not get affected. Okay, now once you apply it, now city becomes Mumbai, so not city becomes Pulgaon. Okay, but one catch over here is that once you modify the config map, it is not going to get reflected in the pod directly. Okay, because this pod is already created with the previous config map values. So whatever values that was present in that previous config map is coming over here, but the new values which are which we have just updated after creating a pod will not come over here directly. We just need to recreate the pod. Okay, then only the new value will come into the picture. So let's recreate it. Means let me delete this kubectl delete pod. So automatically a new pod will get created because we have defined replica equal to 1. So always as a controller, it is going to keep one pod present. So that's where even after deleting this pod, a new pod will always get generated. It got created in just 12 seconds before. And let's check the environment variable for that. And now you can see the environment variable is now city equal to Pulgaon. So this is how a config map is going to help us in providing the environment variable. Means right now if you want to modify the value of this environment variable city, you don't have to go ahead and update over here. You just have to go ahead and update in the config map. Understood this much? Means what exactly config map is and why we are making use of it. Sometimes what happen, we have to make use of certain file as well. Let's say you have some property file, okay, and that property file you want to keep at certain location. That is nothing, means let's say that property file is not part of an image as of now, and because that property file changes with the environment, मतलब production environment के लिए that property file will be different, testing environment के लिए that property file will be different. So that's where I won't be able to add that file within the docker image, because docker image के अंदर add करने से सारे environment पे same property file copy हो जाएगा. So if you even want to mount or if you want to copy any certain property file within the pod, your config map is still going to help us. Okay, so for that matter what we are going to do, okay, over here we are just going to create a copy, or we are just going to add the content within that property file. So if I just open configmap.yaml, over here I have just added one of the environment variable, but I can even add the property file or any config dot properties or any xml, any file. Okay, it's not only for the properties file, but in general in even project as well, we just make use of the properties file. Okay, so this is nothing but we are just creating one game.properties file over here. This file name can be anything and content also can be anything. Okay, it all depends upon project, and we are adding this content within this properties file. And now if you want this properties file with this content to be copied under the pod, that also we can do with the help of config map. Okay, so let's see how we can do that. Means I'll just write a simple what I can say, simple wording over here. Let's say dummy.properties file, and I have added this content over here. Let's save it, and the same thing, if you just change it, let's apply it. It got configured, and if you want to describe the thing, kubectl describe, you have this one properties file, and within that we are having this content. Okay, now we want to mount matlab we want to keep this properties file within the pod, upload this property file within the pod. Okay, so for that matter we can make use of the volume section. We have already learned the volumes in the Docker. Same thing we are going to make use of it. Okay, thoda bahut different hai, but it's not a big deal for us. Okay, so let's go ahead and update the deployment YAML file, and over here like this section belongs to the environment variable. Okay, now one important thing of config map is to make use of the environment variable. Second is to mount a certain file at any particular location within the pod. So let's see how we can do that with the help of our config map. So each and everything is already explained within this documentation, but you don't have to go ahead and read each and every line of it. So we are just making use of the things which is important for us. Okay, so over here you can see there is one volume mount section. Okay, so let me copy this. Okay, and this volume mount section just is at the environment variable look. So let me just align it properly. Okay, and once we added that, there is a volume section. That volume section is in parallel to the containers. Let me copy this entire thing. Maybe it is going to help us later on. Okay, so थोड़ा बहुत अपन okay, so let's align it properly. So what exactly they have provided the hash and everything, it is just for your reference or understanding purpose, like what is the volume and what is the volume mount. Okay, so it is mentioned over here, you can set a volume at the pod level and then mount them into the containers inside that pod. Okay, this is the volume that we are defining, and we can, once this volume we define, we can just mount this volume at certain location. Okay, so let me show you practically. What is the name of our config map? Name of the config map is mycm. Okay, and let's say if I define name of the volume as config volume, let's say, the same thing you have to mention in the name section as well, but means over here as well. Let me explain the code right now. Now the thing is, entire file we want to mount, it's not only a single environment variable. Okay, so that's where we have to make use of the volume, because volume is mainly for the data persistent, and along with that volume is mainly to get that file and mount it on certain location. Right now we want to mount a file from a config map. Now you know, within this config map I have one of the file with the name as dummy.properties. Okay, and what name I want to give the same name in the pod as well. Okay, what I'm actually defining over here, that get the file from this config map. Okay, within this file we have config map. Within this config map we have a file dummy.properties. Get that file from the config map. This is defined in the volume section, and once you have that file in the property in the volume section, Then with the help of volume mount, upload or copy that file at this particular location. Mount path is nothing but कौन से location पे जाके इस file को रखना है. Okay, so that's where this volume name and volume mount name should match with each other. Otherwise we can have multiple volume and multiple volume paths. So कौन सा volume कौन से location पे जाना चाहिए, it will get confused. So that's where we have to provide a name to a volume, and the same name you have to provide to the volume mount as well. Okay, this name can be anything but it should be same. And once we got this dummy.properties file, then copy that dummy.property file at this particular location within the pod. This is the overall meaning of this. Means if you want to copy any certain file, you can just add that particular file in the config map, and with the help of volume and volume mount section, just upload that file. The thing is, there will be one more section particularly regarding to the volumes. Okay, means that in that we will learn the volumes, volume mounts, then persistent volume claim, storage class, a lot of things in the volumes we are going to learn one more time. So let's save it, apply it. So I think there is some missing things. Okay, what validation is missing? Let me check my YAML file one more time. Config volume, items are okay. Config map, name of the config map is mycm, and key is equal to this, path is equal to this. That also looks good. Name of the volume, which what error actually we got? If you choose to ignore unknown field volumes, okay, यहाँ पे volumes unknown field बोल रहा है. Okay, okay, I got it. The thing is, this volume should be in parallel to the container. So that's where यहाँ पे spacing का मैंने थोड़ा problem किया है. That's where this spacing should be proper. Container का जो C जहाँ से start होता है वहाँ पे volume का V start होना चाहिए. So let's align it one more time. Let's save it, apply it, and it got configured. So it is going to create a new pod for us. जब तक के नया पॉड बनेगा नहीं तब तक के पुराना पॉड नहीं डिलीट होगा. ओके, this is the good thing about this conf. Now let's go ahead and execute it. We have the environment variable which is mentioned as city equal to Pulgaon, and at config location, we have added one of the file, okay, dummy.properties. And what is the content of that dummy.properties? We are learning config map. Okay, so this location can be anything. It's up to you कि कौन से path पे जाके that property I have to copy. So these are the two benefits of making use of the config map, because we need this in our project as well. We are making use of this volume and volume mount section to upload or to mount a file which is present inside the config map. Now if you want that the content of this file to be changed, in that case again just modify this config map.yaml, update the content over here, apply the config map, and recreate the pod. Okay, once you recreate the pod, then the new pod will have the new values which are present in the dummy.properties. So these are the two benefits of making use of the config map over here. I hope now you understood in detail. Means maybe this code looks little bit confusing, but it's not that much. Okay, now let's say you mentioned key equal to dummy.properties, you mentioned path equal to the same. This path can be different as well. Let's say if I say my dummy.properties, okay, so what effect it is going to make on our pod? For that matter, let's apply one more time. I'll show you what is the meaning of that key मतलब क्या होता है. This is the key. Okay, this is the key. and this is the value which is present within that file. Okay, now की मतलब अपन ने डिप्लॉयमेंट के अंदर क्या दिया है, की इक्वल टू डमी डॉट प्रॉपर्टीज. ओके, सो इट इज गोइंग टू अपलोड दिस डमी डॉट प्रॉपर्टीज, और अपलोड होने के बाद क्या नाम होना चाहिए विद इन द पॉड. सो इट इज डिफाइंड विद इन दिस. लेट्स सी इफ आई execute -ls config. So you can see we got my dummy dot properties. पहले क्या था dummy dot properties, because मैंने यहाँ पे dummy dot properties लिखा था, but now it is my dummy dot properties. So जो भी आप नाम लिखोगे that will be the final name of a property file which will get copied inside that location config. Understood this much? Now if we are good with this, let's look into something else. That is nothing but, okay, before looking into the something else, let me delete certain things like this config map, delete cm my cm. So this config map got deleted. The thing is, even after deleting this config map, whatever this pod is having, okay, this pod is still having that properties file and still having that environment variable. But as long as this pod is available, those things are present with us. But जैसे ही नया pod अपना create होगा, so we will get an error that config map is not present, because if I try to delete this pod, so automatically a new pod will get created, and that new pod will search this config map, because I have defined the things in my deployment.yaml file that search from the config map mycm. But right now I don't have any config map with the mycm name. Okay, so that's where you will get some error over here. After some time you will get to see. Let me describe the pod. Now you can see volume mount fail because config map mycm not found. Okay, so once you delete this config map, then you will start getting error within the pod, because pod is going to refer to this config map which right now doesn't exist. So that's where things will not work over here. So let me delete these things. Volume thing, I don't want to keep it over here. Now let's look into one more thing, that is nothing but secret. What exactly secret is, let me show you. Let's say if I normally keep name as, let's say, db password, okay, and value of that db password is admin123. Okay, so these are the environment variables which I have defined, and once you will create a pod from this, then this environment variable will be visible to everyone. Okay, now the thing is, this db password or any other secret or any other sensitive data or confidential data, उसका direct value like hard code करना यहाँ पे is not a good idea, because this database password, इसका जो value होगा that is very sensitive value, वो हमेशा confidential होना चाहिए. Directly आप यहाँ पे लिख दोगे and कोई भी इस फाइल को रीड करेगा, so he will come to know what is the value of that variable, and maybe he can get access to that database, and maybe he can damage to our database as well. So that's where जो भी sensitive data होता है, जो भी confidential data होता है, उसको directly hard code करना is not a good thing. So for that matter we have a secret. Secret is one of the object within the Kubernetes in which we can store the data in the encrypted format. Okay, that encrypted format is very much important to understand. Right now in the config map, if you have seen, each and everything is written in the plain text. Anyone can read this YAML file and get the understanding of all those values, right? But the thing is, in the secret we don't keep the key value pair in direct, you can say unencrypted format. We keep in encrypted format. Okay, now let's look into it, how we can encrypt the content and how we can make use of that. Okay, let's go ahead and look into the Kubernetes secret. रेस्ट ऑफ द थिंग्स विल रिमेन द सेम, जो मतलब जो भी कॉन्फिग मैप का काम होता है सेम चीज़ें सीक्रेट भी काम करता है, बट one benefit is like we will keep the data in the encrypted format. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's rename this file to secret.yaml. Open this file and we don't longer need this. Now this time we are going to create a secret, and we will not, let's say name of the secret is my secret, and directly we will not hard code the value over here. db pass equal to जो मुझे पासवर्ड देना है admin123. Okay, first of all I will just encrypt this password, then I will upload it over here. Okay, so let's encrypt it first. So how we are going to encrypt this secret? Support base 64 encryption. Okay, base 64 is nothing but a encryption technology. So once you do this command, okay, so it is going to get one encrypted format of the string, because after reading this encrypted format no one is going to get a proper information कि इसका मतलब डिकोड करने के बाद क्या वैल्यू होगा. ठीक है, so that's where we always have to encrypt the content first, and once we encrypt it then just store in this secret. Rest of the things will remain the same. Okay, so let's copy it, save it. As of now any secret we are having, okay, this is the default secret, you can ignore. Apply -f secret dot yaml. We got one secret over here. If you just try to describe that secret, okay, so description में भी आपको उसका value नहीं दिखेगा. The thing is this secret is a very sensitive thing, okay, and it's very confidential thing. That's where आपको easily उसके values क्या है, उसके अंदर क्या लिखा है पता नहीं चलेगा. ठीक है, now let's upload or let's mount or let's make use of this secret within the pod. Okay, so we have this secret.yaml. Now let's make use of this secret inside the config map, inside this deployment.yaml. So same here, let's go to this section and using a secret, we don't want to make use of the volumes right now. We know how to make use of the volumes, and we are just making use of the environment variable over here. Okay, maybe let's go to maybe it will take some time to find it out. So we already have things which are present at our end. If you go to secret.yaml, then there is one environment section. Okay, so this environment section we have just added. Let's say environment variable name is my db pass. So from which secret I want to fetch the value from it, my secret, and what is the key of that secret, db pass. From where I got this all information I'll show you. Let's save it and let's do cat to deployment and cat to secret. Okay, now just look into this section. We want one environment variable of my database password, and I want to fetch the value from that of that variable from the secret. So from which secret? So this secret I want to fetch the value, and what is the key? Key is nothing but a db pass. Okay, यहाँ पे जो db pass मैंने लिखा है, and what is the value attached to that? The value will get attached, means this variable mydb pass will get the value this much. Okay, but the thing is Kubernetes is you can consider intelligent enough that when the value is going to assign to this variable, it is going to get assigned in the decrypted format. Okay, so खुद ही decrypt करके इस variable को assign कर देगा. ठीक है, तो the thing is always you have to store in the encrypted format. डिक्रिप्शन का काम कुबरनेटिस खुद देख लेगा, ठीक है। सो लेट्स अप्लाई इट, apply -app deployment. Okay, I think there is some issue with this unknown field env. I think issue with the you can say spacing issue होने के कारण we might get certain issues. Okay, so let's wait for a moment. We got this pod up and running. Let's check the environment variable, execute -it. Sorry. Now you can see one environment variable, my db pass equal to admin123. Okay, the thing is this my database password equal to admin123 कहाँ से आया? admin123 तो यहाँ से आया, ठीक है। And what is the variable that I'm using? I'm using this variable my database password. So it's exactly works like the config map. Only thing, we used to store the data in the secure manner. That is the main benefit of using the secret. Otherwise all the things will still remain same. मतलब file upload कैसे करते हैं with the help of volume and volume mount will remain the same. Then उसके बाद क्या बोलते हैं environment variable कैसे upload define करते हैं, that will also remain the same. And each and everything will remain the same. Only thing, within the secret you have to provide the encrypted format of the value so that it will be much secure, and even after reading this value no one is going to predict what will be the value behind this. Okay, so that's where secret is mainly for keeping the configuration data, but that configuration data must be sensitive data, because normal data रखने के लिए अपने पास config map है, बट कॉन्फिग मैप इज नॉट गुड फॉर कीपिंग द सेंसिटिव डेटा, बिकॉज उसके अंदर डिस्क्राइब करने के बाद सब कुछ दिख जाता है क्या नहीं है। सो सेंसिटिव डेटा आपको रखना है, सो यू हैव टू गो अहेड एंड मेक यूज ऑफ द सीक्रेट. So this was the importance of the secret and how we can make use of it. Understood this much about the secret, means how to create this uh, you can say how to create this encrypted thing. Always you have to go ahead and make use of this base 64. Okay, there is no other way, because Kubernetes only support base 64 encryption. And कुछ भी string यहाँ पे आप upload लिख दो, you will get different key for that. And let's say, let me show you one thing. Let's say now I have encrypted it, and if I want to decrypt the same thing, I just have to do the same thing. इसको decrypt करना है मुझे, I just have to make use of base 64, but this time I will use -d option to decode the thing. -d is for decode. So आपको इसको decode करने के बाद you will again get admin123. Let's say if you want to encode something else, like let's say सुबोध को encode करते हैं, so you got this value, and let's say इसको decode करना है, so just make use of that string and again you will get the Subodh. So this is how you can encode and decode with the help of base 64. -d is for the decode. Decode मतलब जो encrypted format है उसको normal format में लाने के लिए you have to make use of the -d decode format. Okay, so this is all about this secret. Secret में एक topic बचा है अपना. Okay, I'll just try to cover that in 5-10 minutes. But before covering that, I just wanted to know that you guys are able to understand the thing about this config map and secret. One more important thing about the secret is, like, let's say if you do kubectl create secret -help. Okay, so you will see three types of the secret. So out of that, two types we will see. One is not that much important for us, that is nothing but a TLS. Okay, so right now whatever the secret that we have created, that secret belongs to the type generic. Generic में क्या आता है? Create a secret from a local file or a directory or a literal value, मतलब environmental value. So from a local file मतलब क्या? जैसे आप config map के अंदर फाइल अपलोड कर दिया था, फाइल लिखा था उसके अंदर, and you uploaded with that file within the pod with the help of volume and volume mount. So that is nothing but local file. You can directly upload the directory as well, and you can create a secret from the environment variable as well. And one more type of the secret, there are three types of the secret, okay, Docker registry, generic, and TLS. There is one more type of the secret, that is nothing but create a secret for use with a Docker registry. Now let me show you when to use this secret, okay, Docker registry कब use करते हैं. Let's if I go to my Docker Hub account, and let's go to my Docker Hub account, and if you remember that if you want to pull a private image, in that case you have done the Docker login earlier, right? मीन्स डॉकर किसी सेक्शन में क्या करते थे, जैसे कुछ प्राइवेट इमेज होती है तो डायरेक्टली तो पुल नहीं होगी, डाउनलोड नहीं होगी एट आवर एंड, ओके. So if you want to make use of that image, in that case, you had done the Docker login, provided the username and password, and after that your login works and you will be able to pull that image. But how about the you can consider how about the pod, मतलब pod को जब कुछ private image मिलती है, so how that pod is going to fetch that image. Let's say this image is a public image right now, okay. If I show you about the settings, so this is the public image, and if you want to make it private, then just click on this make private and write the name of the same image. Okay, so this image is now become the private image, okay. If you want to check the information about this, definitely you can just go ahead and now you can look at this private image. Private image मतलब क्या, no one is going to pull that image directly without finding the credential. उसके पास मेरे अकाउंट के क्रेडेंशियल होंगे तो ही कोई उसको पुल कर पाएगा, अदरवाइज ही विल नॉट बी एबल टू पुल दैट इमेज. So what if I make use of this private image in the Kubernetes? Okay, let's see if I just copy this, and if I have to, let me delete each and everything, kubectl delete deployment, kubectl get, okay, now I don't have any pod along with me. And let's say if you want to create a pod, kubectl run, let's say name of the pod as p1 hyphen hyphen image, from this image support dere figlet image, and as of now this is the private image, okay, just remember this. And let's say pod p1 got created. So let's see if it is coming into the ready state or not. Okay, it is right now into the container creating state. So you can see we got error image pool, means we got error while pulling an image. If you just try to describe this pod, in that case you will get a lot of issues like fail to pull image and some other different error, and you can see pull access denied. The thing is, as of now we are not yet login to the Docker Hub account, okay. In this, in you can in the Docker section we used to have Docker login, and then मैं सुबोध डेरे यहाँ पे like सुबोध डेरे and password, let's say this password. And even though, let's see if I create one more pod after this, the thing is this definitely not going to work. This Docker login will just work for Docker, okay. Kubernetes internally doesn't make use of the Docker login, okay. So Kubernetes को कुछ भी download करना होता है image, and that image is a private image, then somehow we need to provide different, means somehow we need to provide the credential of our Docker Hub account so that it can just fetch an image. Right now you can see p1 p2 दोनों image pool back off में चले गए. ये error तभी आता है जब अपना image private होता है and we don't provide any credentials or anything to our pod to get to create an image. Okay, so how to resolve this issue means how to download a private image in our this Kubernetes cluster. Okay, so for that matter, I'll just delete the previous pod. Okay, and in that case, we have to create a secret that is of the type Docker registry. Now, if you know, if you just create secret hyphen hyphen help, you will see one of the type of the secret that is nothing but a Docker registry. So we have to create one secret with the Docker registry and make use of that secret in our pod. Okay, so how to go ahead and create it, I'll show you. Let's copy this. So let's go ahead and from the starting. So we want to create a secret of type Docker registry over here. Name of the secret can be anything. Let's say my rich grade, anything. Okay. Let's say my Docker hub grade. Okay, anything. And this is the default location of all the images because this is the you can consider Docker hub details. Okay, मतलब अपने सारे images Docker hub में है. So this is the URL of the Docker hub in case of creating a secret. Then what is the username of my account? Subodere is the username of my account. And what is the password of my account? Let me define the password as well. Dummy pass @11 is the password of my Subodere account. And this is the email address over here. Okay, so the thing is we have to create this secret, and within this secret now you can see each and every detail is provided. Like अपना जो image है which is present on the Docker hub का account is Subodere, Docker hub का password is this, and this is the Docker email address. So once you create this secret, you will get to see that secret got created over here. Okay, so we just got created one secret, my Docker hub credential, and this is the type of the secret. Now we just have to make use of this secret while creating a pod. Okay, so for that matter, let's get a pod.yaml file hyphen hyphen dry run equal to client hyphen o yaml pod.yaml. Okay, what is the name of this secret? Okay, now within this, now you know we are making use of this private image only, but this time I will be providing image pool secrets. There can be number of secrets. So over here, what I'm doing over here, I'm just providing the secret with the help of this tag image pool secret. This is the keyword we have to provide. So what it is going to do, if this is the private image, okay, in that case the details about how to log in, where that image is present, each and everything is present inside this secret. So get all the information about download means about that Docker hub account, and once login gets successful to this Docker hub account using this secret, then definitely any private image we can download. Okay, so let's try it out. Okay, image pool secrets. Okay, I think that is let me just check the, you can say, sometimes I may miss some uh, keywords, but I think this is the one. But let's go ahead and check this on the internet. Pull an image from a private registry. Okay, so you can see image pool secrets and name we have to provide. Okay, I missed this hyphen name, that's where it is not working for us. So let's provide name over name over here. name of the secret. What is the name of the secret? This is the name of the secret. So let's apply it one more time. The pod p2 got created. Let's check the status of the pod. It is now under container creating state. Okay, so the first time it is going to download an image, so that's where it will take some time. Let's check the status as well. kubectl describe pod p2, and now you can see successful pulling an image and successfully pulled image. Okay, so this is the first time it was pulling an image, so it took some time to pull an image. But now if you just check the pod p2, even though that is the private image, but that private image got pulled successfully just because we have created a docker registry type of the secret, and within that secret we have uploaded everything about our account. Okay, and we have just made use of these two lines to pull a private image from a private registry. In industry as well, all our images are private images, because let's say if I'm working in a project in my company, so definitely that image will be private. I will not share with any other company that image, right? So, and I don't want any other company to fetch my like project image. So that's where each and every image within the project will always be the private image. Okay, so that's where we will always make use of this thing to pull an private image from a private registry. So this is important thing to understand, because public image pull करने के लिए we don't require this, directly it get pulled successfully. But private image के लिए docker में docker login करना पड़ता है. Kubernetes में we have to create a docker registry type of secret. So I hope now you understood how we can pull a private image. Okay, I hope now you understood all the things about config map, secret, and how to pull a private image from a private registry with the help of this image pull secrets tag. Okay, this is important to keep in mind, because while working on project, definitely we make use of that. Okay, so thank you so much for joining. See you tomorrow. Take care. Bye bye.